Hey guys, welcome to Confessions of an Avoidant. My name is Wando, and on this channel I like to talk about attachment from the life experiences and perspective of someone who goes through life as an avoidant person. So on this video, I wanted to do what they do on Wired.com's YouTube channel, where someone comes on and they answer the internet's most asked questions about them. And in this case, I'm answering the internet's most asked questions about avoidance. And in case you're like, who died and elected you the head avoidant to answer the internet's questions? No one. But I figured since most of the questions about avoidance and a lot of content that's created about avoidance on the internet are by therapists, sometimes by secure people, sometimes they're being answered by anxious people, often anxious people who have a bone to pick with their avoidant partner. So I see that there's a lot of misinformation and misconceptions about avoidance, and I was like, you know what, it's time for an avoidant to stand up to the plate and answer some of the internet's questions. So yeah, I'm not a therapist or anything. I mean, I did go to school for psychology. It's not the career path I ended up going down because I did an internship at an inpatient mental health facility, and I realized very quickly that I do not have the emotional bandwidth to take on other people's emotions all day long. But yeah, not a therapist. I'm not here to be a love coach or a love guru or anything like that. I am just an avoidant girl standing in front of a boy,
asking him to love her.
We could do a whole separate video, right, about Anna Scott's attachment style. She was kind of a mess. Anyway, I digress. Let's get into these questions. Do avoidants crave intimacy? Many avoidants want intimacy, want to be loved, want to be understood. But like I talked about in a video that I made about limerence, we can want those things, but it doesn't mean that we're gonna like be so proactive in going out and getting them, which is why some avoidants, like myself, not all avoidants are like this, but some of us can like go long periods in life without being in a relationship and like be fine, or at least tell ourselves we're fine. Sometimes we're fine and sometimes we tell ourselves we're fine. But yeah, for the most part, like avoidance, we get into relationships and it's because we want intimacy, we want companionship, we want all those things. How do you know if a dismissive avoidant likes you? The best way to know that someone likes you, whether they're dismissive avoidant or not, is if they are continually wanting to see you and spend time with you. And when there's an escalation of spending time with someone and intimacy. So with an avoidant person, that continuation, that recurrence of spending time, it can be more kind of spaced out, but it will still be recurring. It will still be a continuous thing. That's just how you know someone likes you. Yes, there may be more slow pace to increased intimacy, increased vulnerability and those things, but they still will increase. What kind of people are avoidants attracted to? We're attracted to all sorts of people. And I feel like there's always this narrative about avoidance that they always date anxiously attached people, and all avoidants and all anxiously attached people are just always in these like awkward push and pull dynamic relationships. But half of my partners have been secure. I really like dating secure people. I've dated another avoidant person. I've dated an anxious person. Yeah, not everyone is just a magnet to one other attachment style. Do avoidants need a lot of space? Well, this is why I'm making this video, because avoidance is on a spectrum. And I think a lot of people, when they think of an avoidant, they think of the classic trope of the dismissive avoidant who only wants to see their partner, you know, once or twice a week for like 2 hours or something, and doesn't text back for like a day and just needs all this space and is constantly deactivating from their partner. Of course, you have, you know, those extreme kind of dismissive avoidance, but not all avoidance are that extreme. And avoidance is on a spectrum, and avoidance essentially is going to appear differently in different avoidants. And it's the same for every attachment style. Every attachment style is on a spectrum. So maybe if you can't identify with avoidance and you have a hard time understanding it, maybe just think of your own attachment style and think of all of the ways that you don't perfectly fit into a bullet point list about your attachment style. There's no one size fits all bullet point list that's going to cover every single person on this planet, no matter what label you put them under. How often do avoidants text? Every avoidant is different. Again, my ex, who was dismissive avoidant, he would text me like a bajillion times an hour. And I was the one who like didn't text as much. And I realized some of the mistakes I made in that relationship was around texting. Sometimes I would like go hours without texting him, and he needed to be texted a lot. But then when it came to quality time, I was a little bit more flexible than he was. So again, avoidance is very, very nuanced, just like everything in life is very, very nuanced. Do avoidants ever say sorry? Yeah, we do. I'm avoidant, and my ex was also really, really avoidant, and we would say sorry to each other when we messed up. Sometimes we needed like maybe an hour or two to like calm down and come down from like the adrenaline of like being mad at the other person or perceiving that we should be mad at the other person when actually we shouldn't have been. And then we said sorry, but yeah, we're not monsters. What to do when a dismissive avoidant pushes you away? I don't think there's any right or wrong answer to this because it really depends on the person that you're dating. But if I were you, I would try my best to not think of it as they're pushing you away. It could just be they are needing time to themselves. Oftentimes it's something that they've done their entire life. So it's not like it's like you came along and they are just pushing you away because you're annoying or you're a bother or you're a pain in the ass. It's like that's just a part of their identity, which is to take space for themselves and kind of need to retreat into themselves. And I just made a video about avoidance and how we can have strong boundaries around our time and maybe not spend as much quality time with someone as they would like to spend with us. And I explained in that video that oftentimes it's not that there's something wrong with the person. Sometimes we just feel like we're low on spending quality time with ourselves. We feel calm and like centered and at peace and like we have reduced stress when we're just by ourselves. So a lot of times it's not that we're like pushing someone away. It's more of like we just need to kind of take a breather from like showing up for other people. So I would say just maybe try hard to remember that and not take it personally. And I know that can be hard. And if it's too hard, I'm a big fan of walking away from situations that are too hard for you. Life shouldn't be so hard when you're in a relationship with somebody. But yeah, I just try to remember that. Do avoidants get jealous? Oh, I love this question. Yeah, I think everyone gets jealous. But depending on your attachment style, we all have like different presentations of jealousy. And I think for avoidant people, based on avoidant people I've known, myself, some that I've dated, if we're jealous, it doesn't mean that we're going to let you know or show you. So you might think that we're not jealous, but internally we're jealous. And a lot of times avoidance, we are really good at suppressing our emotions and our feelings. So we're not going to telegraph something to someone else, but sometimes we don't even like telegraph it to ourselves. And so we're not truly registering that we're jealous. And also I just want to say here, like avoidance is on a spectrum again. So some avoidants will communicate their jealousy. Someone left in my comments recently that their partner who is very avoidant and has, those kind of classic telltale signs, like being really strict with their time. But this commenter wrote that their partner got very jealous and even cried when their partner saw that some girl wrote something on their Facebook status or something, like commented on their Facebook, and he was shocked because she has all these other signs and symptoms of avoidance, but like she acted very, very jealous. So again, it's on a spectrum, of course. But I do think a lot of avoidance, including myself, won't show you when we're jealous. How does a dismissive avoidant show love? Well, I think just like any other person who's in love or falling in love, there's going to be an escalation of behaviors that really show that someone loves you. That could be telling you, I love you. That could be, making steps in your relationship that show that someone loves you. Like for some people, it could be moving in together. For other people, it could be spending more time with the person and kind of combining your lives more and really considering each other more. I have a feeling anyone asking this question might be thinking love languages though. And I feel like when it comes to love languages, again, like everyone's different. So, I don't want to sit here and say, oh, all avoidants love to show their love through acts of service. And while that might, like, in general be a fair thing to say, like, I still can't say that because I just can't paint every single avoidant with that brush. And there's plenty of avoidants who will show love by saying I love you, and maybe it might take them a while to say it, or maybe they'll be infrequent in saying it. I've said I love you to partners in the past. So again, I just think it's more nuanced than, oh, every single avoidant must show their love by acts of service. How do avoidants respond to no contact? I think, and I've talked about this in another video, we're good at like just accepting things. I think it has a lot to do with like learned helplessness and from childhood neglect, just accepting the situation that you're in. Like you can't like force your parent to like spend time with you or say nice things to you or act like you exist. So you just learn to kind of accept situations that you're not happy with or frustrating or sad, and you just get on with your life. And so I think no contact with an avoidant person, we tend to just kind of accept the situation. If a relationship ends and we are not talking to our ex, that's because we just accept that we're exes now, even if we're missing the person or we're sad, we can still just kind of like keep calm and carry on, as the Brits say. But I made a separate video about this, so I'll link to it in the description, about avoidance during a breakup. I didn't really talk about no contact, but I basically explained in that video that I was no contact with my ex, and I never contacted him about like getting back together or missing him or anything like that. We're really good at no contact. But again, everyone's different, so not every single avoidant maybe is just going to like be like a beast at no contact, yo. Do avoidants want you to reach out? It depends on your specific situation, your specific relationship. And this is a thing about the internet and dating gurus and all this stuff that kind of annoys me. It's like, I just wish that a lot more of these like dating gurus would kind of tell people asking these type of questions, like, you have to like put on your big girl or big boy pants and ask yourself about your specific relationship. The internet can't tell you about your specific dynamic and your specific relationship, and also what elements you bring to the relationship. If you have an insecure attachment style, there's things you did too that led to the relationship not working out, or there's sometimes things that you do that maybe push someone away. So you might have behaviors that push someone away, and the avoidant might have behaviors that just pull away. So I guess my point is, like, I'm just a big fan of like checking in with yourself and being honest with yourself and saying, here are the dynamics of my relationship, and the internet can't possibly tell me what is the next step from my relationship or my breakup. Like sometimes like the best answers are the ones that you can ask yourself honestly and answer honestly. So it depends on your relationship. I'll answer a couple more questions. Does a dismissive avoidant miss you? Yeah, avoidant people will miss people that they're in a relationship with or have broken up with. Doesn't mean that they're going to reach out to you and try to get you back. And if you're in a relationship and they miss you, maybe they're not telling you, but they do miss people. We have feelings. It's just that we don't always communicate what we're feeling. But we have feelings. Why do dismissive avoidants sabotage relationships? I think all insecure attachment styles sabotage relationships. So I don't even want to answer that question, because I feel like in the attachment community, there's a hyperfixation on how the dismissive avoidant or avoidant people are sabotaging relationships. And anyone with an insecure attachment style is going to sabotage relationships. So anyway, I just I get a little bit annoyed by that. I'll answer one more question. Are avoidants usually narcissists? You know what? Research shows that narcissists are more likely to be anxiously attached, or maybe a disorganized attachment with anxious and avoidant. So, sorry. There's so many videos about the differences between avoidance and narcissism. I'm going to make a video as well, because I notice a lot of people who comment on my videos will describe dynamics with someone who's clearly like a manipulator, cluster B personality type of person, but then they'll label them avoidant, and it gets under my skin so much. So I'm going to make a separate video about that, addressing some comments where I think people are conflating or confusing or purposefully preferring to believe that someone is an avoidant when what they've described in their situation sounds like a manipulator, a cluster B personality person, a narcissist, sociopath, whatever. So anyway, those are all the questions that I'm going to answer today. I see that there's a lot more questions on the internet about avoidance, so maybe I'll make a part 2. Let me know if you want me to do that. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please like it and share it as well. That really helps my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.